This must be the place. Professor Oubier's house.
Looks pretty creepy. I'd been away from Paris and hadn't seen Nico for nearly 6 months. I wanted to celebrate our reunion, but she had other plans. An appointment with an archaeologist. Something to do with a Mayan stone she came across while researching the story. The guy who answered the door didn't look much like an archaeologist to me. I had a bad feeling about this. I glanced over the books, vaguely hoping to find a copy of How to Deal with Poisonous Spiders While Tied to a Chair. No such luck. But I noticed one corner of the bookcase was supported by a loose block of wood. Maybe I'd been a little heavy-handed, but it was a question of survival. Of course, I was still tied to a chair in a burning house with no means of escape. One mighty bound, our hero was free. Now, I had to deal with that fire. Inside, I found a bottle of tequila. Normally, I didn't drink strong spirits, but today was far from normal. Ew, disgusting. Not only did the tequila burn like hell, I just managed to stop myself from swallowing the worm. There was something short, fleshy, and gross on the carpet. It was the worm from the bottle of tequila. In the drawer was a small decorated pot. The pot contained a key. That dart was sharper than a mosquito's business end, but this didn't deter me from getting it anyway. It was a stylish little canvas number containing a lipstick, a handwritten note, and a pair of nylon panties with a large love heart emblazoned across the front. It occurred to me that Nico's tastes must have really changed while I was away. Well, they could be useful. I guess I had no business reading the note, but I figured it might give me a clue to what Nico was involved in. It was from André Lobineau, the history student Nico had known at college. The letter was sentimental mush, and revealed that the exotic lingerie, as he called it, was a gift from him. It gave his telephone number. Lobineau figured himself as a rival for Nico's affections, but I couldn't believe that that creep was in the running. There was no pressure in the siphon. I guess it was out of gas. The cabinet was locked. As I released the lock, something blew the doors open. That cylinder was hot. I couldn't pick it up with my bare hands. The panties I'd found in Nico's bag were just what I needed to wrap around the hot cylinder. The cylinder gave out a faint hiss as the valve opened. What? Now I had one primed up and ready to use extinguisher. With a well-aimed squirt of his soda fountain, our unshakable hero saved the day. Now it was time to start looking for Nico. I wasn't going to burn myself on that red-hot doorknob, and it wasn't the time for subtlety. I'd found a piece of newspaper folded in two. It referred to a forthcoming eclipse of the sun. Unfortunately, it wouldn't be visible from Europe. The best place to view the eclipse would be Mexico. It was the newspaper clipping referring to the imminent eclipse. Wrapped inside it was another small piece of paper. It was a bank statement for Ubier's account from an automatic telling machine. The last 5 withdrawals were for large amounts, and all made in Marseille. Much as I disliked him, Labano might be my only hope of finding Nico. Hi, Andre?
Who is this?
It's George Stobart, Nico's boyfriend.
Don't you mean ex-boyfriend?
Look, I didn't call you just to pick a fight. I need to talk to you about Nico.
Can't you accept she's just not interested in you?
Listen, Andre, we need to talk. Nico's life depends on it.
Okay. You remember the cafe at Montfaucon?
Sure. Andre? You'd better show, you creep. I felt an irrational urge to wipe my ear. I unlocked the door. I wasn't looking forward to meeting Labano again, but he was my only link with Nico. There was no sign of Labano when I got to the cafe. I decided to order a coffee and wait for him. It was a small silver flask from which the man was topping up his glass. I couldn't snatch the man's flask while he was looking. Pardon me, but don't I know you?
Huh?
You were here the day I found the catacombs.
I was? Ah, yes. I remember you.
Yeah. Are you still in the police force?
No, not anymore. I'm a man of leisure. And what brings you back to Paris?
I'm waiting for an acquaintance.
Bon. And you have found another. Will you share a bottle of wine with me?
Hey, listen, I'd love to, but I need to keep a clear head.
So my company isn't good enough for you.
Why did you leave the police?
I was forced to retire. The golden handshake. Only in my case, it was more copper than gold.
How come?
I was made a scapegoat to cover up the department's inefficiencies.
Have you ever heard of a Professor Ubier?
No, monsieur. I don't recall the name.
Well, apparently he's an expert on Mayan art and history.
A little out of my field of experience, monsieur. If he'd been a serial killer or a sodomite, I might have been able to help.
Oh, garçon. He ignored me. I'm sure it was deliberate. Hey, you.
Quoi?
I'd like a cup of coffee if you don't mind.
When I finish serving this gentleman. Un café.
Thanks. What does that guy keep pouring out of his flask?
Absinthe.
Absinthe? I thought that was highly dangerous and outlawed in France.
It is. Don't look at me, I didn't sell it to him.
Do you know a guy called André Lobineau?
Oui, I know him. What of it?
Well, I'm supposed to meet him here. Did I miss him?
No, I have not seen him today.
Have you heard of Professor Oubier?
Oui. He married that actress, the little dachshund. They used to come here. The nutty professor and the movie star.
If Oubier's wife was a movie star, how come I never heard of her?
She was big in France. The world doesn't stop at Hollywood. Her stage name was Carol Climax. She died in suspicious circumstances.
How did Oubier's wife die?
I heard he shot her.
And got away with it?
He had a good lawyer and a watertight alibi.
Why would an eminent public figure like Oubier risk everything for murder?
He wouldn't be the first, would he? Besides, people like him always get off.
Do you know that man over there?
I should think so. He's a regular customer.
That's all.
Thank you.
Well, this is a surprise, Georgie.
I wouldn't normally call you, but Nico's in trouble, Andre. Deep trouble. You have to help me find her.
What? What have you dragged her into this time?
It was you that recommended Professor Oubier as an expert on Mayan art. Now his butler has kidnapped her, and he tried to kill me.
Every time she gets involved with you, there is trouble. Walking out on her was the best thing you could do.
My father was dying, damn it. I had no choice.
Well, she soon recovered once she went back to her old friends.
Drop it, Andre. Right now, Nico's in danger, and we have to work together.
So, how can I help?
Nico needed to speak to Oubier about a stone.
Oh, you mean this stone?
So that's what all the trouble's about.
Precisely. Nicole told me to guard it with my life.
Well, it's worth more than that, surely.
Oh, very funny.
What's funny is that your life really is on the line.
What are you talking about?
The stone is a Mayan artifact, dummy, and the guy who kidnapped Nico was from Central America. It was the stone they were after.
Oh my god, you mean I could be in danger too?
What do you suppose the carving on the stone means?
I don't know. I haven't shown it to anyone.
Why don't you just give it to me?
I don't want your death on my conscience, George.
Where did Nico get the stone?
I'm not sure I should tell you.
Oh, you should.
It was something to do with smuggling.
Why didn't Nico take the stone to Oubier?
I don't know. Perhaps she suspected something like this would happen.
If she's been hurt, Andre, I'll break every bone in your body.
No, that's typical of you. Do you think I don't care what happens to Nicole?
It occurred to me that slugs don't have bones to break, but I kept that thought to myself. Tell me about your friend Ubier.
He's more of a professional acquaintance than a friend.
I see. So you don't really know him at all?
No, I don't.
Does Ubier employ a guy from Central America?
Maybe. I don't know.
What can you tell me about this pot?
South or Central American, I'd say. I have a friend who'd be able to tell you more.
Where can I find this guy?
He owns a gallery on the left bank. The Gliese Gallery.
Take a look at this, Andre.
It's a bank statement?
Yeah. Professor Ubier's account. 5 large cash withdrawals in the space of 3 days. All from an automatic teller in Marseille. Suspicious, isn't it?
You're even more crazy than you were before.
See you later.
Goodbye, Georgie.
I've had enough of your games, Kala. Tell me what you've done with my stone.
I thought your business was simply smuggling cocaine, Karzak. Why are you so interested in that stone?
Either you tell me what I want to know, or Pablo here will make you talk.
Okay. Well, I figured someone at the university would be able to help. So I had a word with one of my girlfriends, and she told me her boyfriend was a lecturer. I sent the stone to the Department of Ethnology. You know, I figured it was South American, so... You're not buying this, are you?
That's enough! I don't have time to listen to your mindless prattle. We'll leave you to think it over. Come the morning, you'll be ready to talk.
Do you miss being a gendarme?
Yes, of course I do. When I wore that uniform, I commanded respect. Not anymore.
I grabbed the flask and was struck by a powerful smell of absinthe, a highly potent and illegal alcoholic drink. Now I had another lead. I could either go back to Ubier's house or visit the Gliese Gallery. The Gliese Gallery had style and class, but very few customers. Are you Mr. Gliese, the owner?
Good God, no.
Then I guess that must be him over there, right?
Your powers of deductive reasoning astound me.
Have you heard of Professor Ubier?
Yes, of course.
I was at his house earlier.
If you're going to drop names, you could at least name one worth dropping.
I thought Ubier was a well-respected man.
Why, his last book was nothing but pseudo-intellectual claptrap. The demented ramblings of a drug-dependent has-been.
What's that you're drinking?
I'm not sure, but I have a suspicion it might be urine. Gliese can't expect a favorable criticism of his gallery when he serves this muck.
Would you give me your opinion on this pot, sir?
Yes. Very rapouche.
Rapouche?
Hideous.
What the hell do you think you're doing? You smashed my pot.
Certainly it was not only worthless, it was ugly and offensive.
To you, maybe.
Believe me, I was doing you a favor.
I wasn't going to waste any more breath talking to that pompous blimp. Maybe I could turn the situation to my advantage, and at the same time, get my revenge. I'd like to ask you a few questions, if you don't mind.
Certainly, sir. I'd be most happy to oblige.
You're English?
These days one prefers to think of oneself as European.
Sure. Whatever you say.
And how precisely may one assist you, sir?
What I really wanted to ask you about was a black stone.
A black stone?
Yeah, it's a Mayan artifact, about as big as my hand.
No, sir, one doesn't get much call for black stones. If it's Mayan artifacts you're interested in, I have some rather exquisite pots.
So did I, until that slob smashed it. Have you heard of Professor Oubier?
Of course. His name is synonymous with Mayan art. A number of these artifacts were supplied by Oubier himself.
Do you believe the story that Oubier murdered his wife?
If it was true, who can blame him? She was an opportunist tramp. Well, that's what I heard.
Have you seen any of Oubier's wife's films?
Only one. Believe me, I was appalled, shocked, disgusted, and repulsed.
Well, you sure got your money's worth. Last time I went to the movies, I wasn't even titillated. I suppose you have an import license for these relics?
Of course. But that's not my problem, sir. The professor arranges all the shipping. We simply collect the items from the docks.
Could you tell me which docks Professor Oubier uses to import the artifacts?
Good God, no. I can't possibly reveal my commercial secrets.
Do you get many Central American Indians in here?
No, sir. This is Paris. Central America is several thousand kilometers southwest of here. Straight across the Atlantic Ocean and turn left. You can't miss it.
Well, as it happens, I saw some Central American Indians this very morning.
Tourists, sir. Paris is full of them at this time of year.
I found this news story referring to a total eclipse of the sun.
Really, sir? Well, fascinating.
I splashed a little absinthe into the glass and hoped he wouldn't notice the change of color.
Did you put something in my drink?
Yeah, I did. Well, what do you think?
Well, it's certainly an improvement over Gleese's wine. In fact, I could grow to like it.
Allow me. There was nothing in the case but styrofoam packing, but pasted on the side was the remains of a label. It was a label bearing a company name and logo. Underneath the logo of a flying bird were the words Condor Transglobal Mars. The rest of the label was missing. It was beginning to make sense. Oubier had organized Nico's abduction. Oubier withdrew money from Marseille. Oubier was connected with Transglobal, who shipped their goods from a warehouse in Marseille. That's how the torn Transglobal label had once read. Marseille, not Mars. It wasn't much of a lead, but it was all I had. I set off immediately to catch the evening train. It was almost dawn when I arrived in Marseille. I traced Condor Transglobal to a desolate dockside.
What's the big idea?
I don't know. The dog went berserk for no apparent reason.
He's trained to do that. The idea is to deter any would-be intruder.
Oh, I get it. Okay, I'm sorry.
That's okay. Just remember, He's a trained attack dog. A killer.
Hi, good morning.
Do you know what time it is?
No, I don't wear a watch. As my dad used to say, I'm not into time, man.
Well, you're too early.
Ever heard of Condor Transglobal?
Sure. They have a warehouse here.
Well, could I take a look?
Not until after the holidays. Come back in a month.
I gotta go now, but I'll be back.
Can't wait.
The stick had a hook on one end. I figured it was a boat hook. For hooking boats. I just knew that boat hook would be useful for something. As for the bottle, even if I couldn't find a use for it, I'd cleaned up the dock a little. Ouch! That's hot. The bottle was half filled with water. Maybe it would cool the cone down enough to touch it. Now I could see into the pipe which formed the chimney. The bottle had blocked the chimney, and the hut was filling up with smoke. Someone had once told me a piece of coal brought you luck. Who was I to argue with irrational superstition? The packet was full of dog biscuits. Here, boy, have a nice crunchy biscuit. I felt a slight twinge of conscience as I prepared to give the dog a dunking. It soon passed. As I'd expected, the dog could swim like a dog. The din must have drowned out the sound of my knocking. Maybe there was a way in up there. That did the trick. The fan clunked and shorted out as its blades were mashed by the boat hook.
Hey, you make any more noise, I break your arms.
That bully needed to be taught a lesson.
Garzak's already mad because we didn't get the stone. You give me any trouble, I'll tell him it was all your fault.
Karzak? That must be his boss.
Who is he?
Is this Condor Transglobal?
Nobody here. Go away.
I'll give you 5 seconds to let me in or I'll bust down the door.
Okay. I'm coming.
He didn't sound too happy. The only interesting thing I found was a small brass key.
Whoa! Don't shoot!
The little guy had a blowpipe. That confirmed my suspicions about what had happened to Nico. I waited for him to shoot me, but it didn't happen. Instead, he seemed to want to tell me something. What? What do you want? He seemed excited, almost desperate. What did he want so bad? Hi. I'm not going to hurt you.
Quaramonte.
Was that your name? Quaramonte?
Quaramonte.
His vocabulary seemed a little restricted. What does this key unlock?
Huh?
Hey, you're manacled. Who did this? That big thug? I'm gonna set you free, okay? Hey, come back here! The little guy had gone to ground amongst the stack of crates. just in time. Interrupting the beam of light kept the doors from closing and stopped anyone from using the elevator. But what now? There. That would keep the doors from closing. There was an arc-shaped scratch on the floor, as if a door had been opened in the nearby wall. My fingers traced the outline of a secret door in the wall. Then I found a small round stud, which was set flush to the surrounding wooden paneling. Just as I'd hoped. A secret room. Nico! There. How are you feeling?
Oh, thanks, Georges. How on earth did you find me?
I knew Oubier had been in Marseille. But never mind about me. How about you tell me exactly what's going on, starting with that Mayan stone?
I picked it up from one of Karzak's men in Paris. I was expecting a consignment of narcotics.
Drugs?
Yes. The proof I needed to expose Karzak's smuggling operation. I'd set it up to act as his courier, and once I had the proof, I planned to go straight to Inspector Mou. But instead of the dope I'd expected, they sent me that stone instead. And to find out more, I called Professor Oubier, who invited me to his mansion. At least, I thought it was Oubier.
I don't get it. If Karzak's business is drugs, why is he so desperate to get his hands on that stone?
Maybe it has some significance to the local people in Central America. It could be Karzak's means of getting them to work for him. Anyway, we've got to get out of here.
Nico, wait! I decided to keep the masking tape. It was bound to be of some use to me. It was a flint carving of a grotesque figure with large, evil eyes. We can't use the elevator. If that thug Pablo's recovered, he'll be waiting for us.
We've got to do something. Where does that door lead to?
I'm not sure. A sturdy beam was jammed across the doors. These doors were not going to open. Hopefully, the tape would prevent those doors from closing and stop the Indian from being able to call the elevator. The pallet rose about 6 inches off the floor, and I said a silent prayer to whoever had discovered the power of hydraulics.
What on earth are you doing?
Trying to raise the statue so I can hook it to that pulley.
Is that really going to help us?
I like to keep myself occupied in times of stress. It was too heavy for me to move on my own. Have you any idea who this little statue is supposed to be?
I'm not very well acquainted with Mayan deities, George. But whatever his name, he sure is ugly.
Could you give me a hand to push this statue?
What for?
This, my dear, is our passport to freedom.
If you say so, dear.
Okay, push! Great teamwork.
Nice to be working with you again, Mr. Stobart.
Nico, I have a great idea.
George, where have you been?
Never mind that. Do you have the Mayan stone?
Maybe I have, but,
Don't argue, André. Give the stone to George.
well, of course. If you say so, Nicole.
Thank you so much, André.
George, he told me you'd been kidnapped, my dear. I'm glad to see he was mistaken.
Oh, but it was true. If it hadn't been for George, I wouldn't be here now.
It's not finished yet. Karzak's thugs will be back for that stone, you can bet. That little guy kept saying Coramonte. Perhaps the name is significant.
Coramonte is in Central America. That's where Ubier gets his artifacts.
That's all we needed to know. Come on, George.
Coramonte, the traveler's rear entrance to Central America. Well, that's how it was translated in the brochure. We didn't know what we were looking for, but the offices of Condor Transglobal seemed a good place to start.
Hey, it's market day. I don't see any cabs. Let's ask someone how to get to Coramonte City.
Okay. Keep your eyes peeled for any sign of Condor Transglobal.
George Stobart, well, of all the...
Mrs. Henderson! Boy, this is some coincidence, huh?
When you've been married to a fruitcake like Dwayne as long as I have, you stop believing in coincidence.
I'd met Pearl and Dwayne on the other side of the globe in Syria. He was an Army veteran who suspected he was working for the CIA, but wasn't sure. She was less obviously deranged. Is Dwayne here with you, Mrs. Henderson?
Why, sure, I couldn't leave him home alone. Since Dwayne came back from the war, we couldn't bear to be apart.
So, where is he now?
We ain't speaking.
Why aren't you speaking to Dwayne?
Because he's an old spoiled sport sourpuss. I want to visit one of those old pyramid places, but Dwayne says he has to stay in town.
Right. And you don't want to go on your own?
Well, there's no point in going to the pyramid if there's no one around to take my picture.
Is Dwayne still working for the CIA?
If he is, he doesn't know it. He's what they call a snoozer.
Don't you mean a sleeper?
No, this is different. He used to think he worked for them, but the psychotherapy cured him of that. What he doesn't realize is that now he really does work for them. At least that's the way I understood it.
What brings you to Coramonte, Pearl?
What takes me just about anywheres. The market.
You drove 2,000 miles to go shopping?
Shopping is my role in the economy of the Great Design, George.
Hey, Nico!
I have done just as I have been instructed, Professor. With the mine closed down, there'll be no one around to observe your excavations. Ah, I have visitors.
Just remember what I told you, General. There's really no need to make a martyr out of that man.
I'm sorry to keep you waiting, Senor. Welcome to Quarmonte.
Thanks. My name's George Stobart from California.
But what is this? An angel come down to earth.
Nicole Collard. Enchanté, mon général.
Pardon me, Senorita, but I couldn't help myself.
Look, we'd like to ask you a few questions.
You've come to the right place, Senor. Tourist information. General Graciento, at your service.
This is the tourist office? It says police on the sign outside.
It is both, Senor. I am a man of many parts.
I can see that, General.
Who was the guy you were talking to when we arrived?
Professor Oubier, a visitor, Senor, like yourselves.
Did you say Oubier?
Si, Senor. Professor Oubier, a French archaeologist.
What's Oubier doing in Quarmonte?
Researching our rich and glorious past, Senor. The professor is planning an expedition to some Mayan ruins. He came to see me to get an excavation permit.
Are there any ruins around the city?
Of course, Senor. Quarmonte has everything.
I have a friend who wants to visit an historical site.
Ronaldo will only be too pleased to conduct a guided tour, when he's dealt with today's paperwork, of course.
I'll be back. You came on a little strong with the General.
I was merely flattering his ego, George. Every man has his Achilles heel.
Maybe, but that guy's weakness isn't in his foot. It was Pearl's husband, Dwayne. Hey, Mr. Anderson. Good to see you again.
Do I know you, son?
George Stobart, remember? In Syria? I sold you a statue.
I remember that. Pearl was mighty vexed when the paint came off.
Look, I'm sorry. I'll give you back the $50.
No, you suckered me fair and square. This here is Bertrand.
Bertrand Oubier? So, we finally caught up with you.
What the devil are you talking about?
Don't give me that crap, Oubier.
Now hold fire, George. Suppose you tell us what the hell's going on.
This man lured Nico to his house in Paris in order to abduct her.
Nonsense. I've been in Quarmonte for the last 7 months.
And I can vouch for that. George, I think you owe Bertrand an apology.
Okay, Oubier, I'm sorry. Hey, cheer up, guys. What's with the long faces?
Our pipe player has been arrested and thrown in jail.
Poor Miguel. He never broke the law in his life.
Why was Miguel put in jail?
For playing folk music.
What?
It's true, senor. He insisted on playing traditional Quarmonte music, even though it's illegal.
Why don't you try playing a tune to cheer yourselves up?
No, we should be looking for real jobs.
We could earn 10 times as much down the mines. My cousin Ramirez was earning 8 pesos an hour.
Before he lost his legs in the accident.
Tell me about the accident at the mine.
There was an explosion at Teoculcan. 30 miners were buried alive.
They got some of them out, though.
2 of them, including your cousin, and they left half of him behind.
Tell me about the general. You know, the guy in charge around here.
We don't want to talk about him, senor.
How come? No one can hear you. Well, only that old goat.
In Quaramonte we have a saying, don't tell your old goat what you don't want your wife to know.
What does that mean?
I don't know.
Hey, Nico!
Senor. Leave the child alone.
Do you have a map of Quaramonte?
A map? I'm sorry, senor, but I don't.
What about the one on the wall?
Ah, that is an archaeological survey map, senor. Not suitable for tourists.
Is it true there's a restriction on music in Quaramonte?
Yes, there is. An emergency measure introduced by Nuestra Senora.
Folk music is a link with the past for some of these people. Take away their musical roots and what do they got left?
Easy listening.
You think easy listening could replace a musical heritage hundreds of years old?
Why not? It happened in your country.
I hear there was an accident at the mine a few months ago.
That's correct.
A lot of men killed, weren't there?
A few.
30?
Barely 1% of the working population.
Have you heard of a guy called Karzak?
No. No, I never heard of him.
I'll be back.
Are you still working for... you know who?
You know I can't talk about my work, George. That's between me and Uncle Sam.
Do you think the general was involved with Condor?
Hell no. And if he's a general, I'm a Buddhist. No, that fella's just a mouthpiece for the real power in Quaramonte.
So the general is nothing but a puppet?
He's like Pinocchio before he met the Blue Rinse Fairy. Strictly strings and wood.
Who's pulling the strings?
His mother. Better known as La Presidenta, the dictator.
Did you know that traditional music is illegal in Quaramonte?
Is that so? Seems reasonable to me.
No, really. The leader of the band in the square has been in prison just because of the music he played.
I don't know who you've been talking to, but that fella, Miguel, he's an agitator.
What's the real reason the musician was in prison?
Handed out subversive literature at the mines. That so-called general was waiting for Miguel when he got back into town. Marched him off to jail at gunpoint on a charge of inciting a riot.
Did you drive all the way down here?
Hell no. Pearl did the driving while I followed the maps. The way she handled the wheel, you'd think she'd been trucking half her life.
Why did you bring a huge truck like that?
George, I'm on a top-secret classified mission for Uncle Sam. This truck is a rolling bomb. 400 pounds of nitrate fertilizer with a plastique initiator. They'll hear the bang in China. Gee, I'm really looking forward to this.
Is Miguel the reason you're here?
Pretty smart, George. I was supposed to make contact with him. By the time I found him, though, he was in jail. I've been trying to figure out a way to get him out since then.
Sounds good to me. Count me in.
Good man, George. All I need is a detonator.
How come you brought a truckload of explosives but no detonator?
Call me old-fashioned, but I say packing trunks is woman's work. I left the packing to Pearl, and I can't find a darn thing. Just hope she remembered to bring my denture polish. I'd sure hate to arrive back in the States with tar on my teeth.
Hey, Nico!
Hola, señora.
Hi. We were wondering...
I was talking to the lady, Chico.
Hi, my name is Nicole Collard.
Concha Garcia. How can I help you, sister?
The corporation I represent is considering a major investment in Quaramonte. Your advice, as the head of an obviously successful concern, is precisely what I'm after. My assistant, Mr. Stobart, has a few questions he'd like to ask you.
Can you tell me about the accident at the mine?
Accident? It was sabotage. Somebody wanted my mine closed down for good.
Do you have any evidence that the mine was sabotaged?
Not yet, but I'll get to the bottom of it. There'd been trouble at that mine for several months. The workforce was getting smaller every day. Someone had started a rumor among the men that the mine was cursed. Now the entire operation has been closed down.
Where's the site of the mine?
Several days upriver at a remote area known as Teoculcan.
Do you know Professor Ubier?
Yes. I understand he is about to embark on an archaeological expedition. He hired some equipment from me earlier today.
I overheard him talking to the general. I think they're working together.
What? If I'd known that, I wouldn't have hired out the equipment. Now, why would the general be interested in an archaeologist?
Do you have any kind of detonating device in stock?
Sure. They're kept in that cupboard.
I don't suppose you have one spare?
I can't simply give you a device like that, no without a damn good reason.
The general has a chart in his office, which he was discussing with Ubier.
Perhaps that chart will tell us where they're heading.
Maybe, but I can't get anywhere near it while the general and his sidekick are there. Did you notice that chart on the police station wall?
Yes, it looked like a map to me, but I couldn't make out the details.
Whatever it was, the general didn't want us to see it. Could you distract the general while I took a look at that chart?
You're kidding. Did you see the way he was leering at me?
Yeah, you'd make a great snake charmer. Come on, 5 minutes is all I need.
Well, maybe. But it's your harebrained scheme. You do the talking.
My girlfriend has a favor she wants to ask you, General.
For you, my dear, anything.
I've changed my mind.
Oh, no, you haven't. She's embarrassed about asking you for an interview, General.
An interview with me? Fabuloso!
Well, I want to write a story about you.
You hear that, Ronaldo? An exclusive glossy spread about your beloved General.
Si, Signor General.
Look after things here. I'm going back to my apartment and I don't want to be disturbed.
I'll get you for this, George Stobart.
Don't worry. If you're gone for more than a couple of hours, I'll come and get you.
A couple of hours?
Hi, I'm George Stobart.
Hello, Signor. How can I help you?
Are there any ancient pyramids near Quaramonte?
Si, Signor. But it's not very impressive. It's in ruins.
That's perfect. Would you take my friend to the ruins now the General's gone?
I'd be honored, Signor.
Thanks. I'll go get her. I've made the arrangements for your visit to the temple, Pearl.
Oh, that's just great, George. Why don't you come too, honey?
I'd love to, but right now I have to save the world.
Listen, sweetie. I'm looking for an official guide to take me to the old pyramid.
For a lovely lady, I would go to the ends of the earth. For you, I will go as far as the pyramid and back. But what about your husband?
What he doesn't know won't hurt him. Let's go, Beanpole.
As Pearl and Ronaldo set out for the ruined pyramid, I prepared to search the police station. It looked like a geological survey map showing the land to the southeast of Quaramonte City. About 60 miles inland and upstream was an area marked Teoculcan. I got a good look at that chart in the police station. It's a map of Quaramonte.
Does it tell us where Ubier is heading?
Yeah, a place called Teoculcan.
That's the site of the mine. I wonder why they're being so secretive about Ubier's plans. One thing's for sure. If the general's involved, they're up to no good. I'd like to talk to that musician Miguel. Take the detonator and get him out of that jail.
Here is the detonator, Dwayne.
Keep your voice down, George. You want everyone to know. You'd best go and warn Miguel that the U.S. cavalry's on the way.
Okay. Hey, Miguel,
What is it? What is happening?
we're getting out of here.
Who's we? They've sent the Delta Force.
Nope,
The Impossible Missions Force.
don't make me sick. Much better.
Who then?
A retired greetings card salesman from Ohio.
I'm doomed.
You're not the only one.
I should have known you'd be trouble the moment I saw you.
Look, I can explain everything.
Get in that cell, now.
And what if I refuse?
He'll shoot you.
Okay, here I am, going quietly into the cell.
Very wise, North Americano scum.
One of the reasons I hate guns so much is the way they make people so damned impolite.
I hope you're enjoying your vacation, Senor Stobart.
Go polish your weapon, Ronaldo.
This was part of your plan, right?
Well, in a manner of speaking, no. I was all out of ideas. It was up to Nico now.
So, here we are.
You've changed.
I thought I would slip into something more comfortable.
The stench of cheap cologne rolled over me like tear gas.
So, what do you want to know about me? Ask and I will answer. I will deny you nothing. I am a very giving person.
How nice for your friends.
Your eyes are glittering like stars.
His damn cologne was making my eyes water. I was running out of sofa.
As spirited as you are beautiful, I admire that.
As long as he admired it from afar. A lava lamp, hip in a retro way. I had no doubt the general thought it was hip, full stop. A tiger skin lay on the floor. It was a portrait of some thug in a uniform. A stuffed swordfish. Cutting-edge technology, in 1978 at any rate. Is that a lava lamp?
Sure, it's more impressive in the dark. I'll close the blinds.
No, don't do that. Not on such a beautiful day. Big fish. Catch it yourself?
Catch it? Fishing poles are for children.
Then how did... Are those bullet holes?
2 magazines on full automatic. It put up quite a fight.
Who's the guy with the hat and the fat cigar?
My mother.
That tiger skin. You didn't kill it yourself, did you?
Alas, no. I had to import a synthetic one from the United States. It is very comfortable to lie on, naked.
Unfortunately, I'm allergic to man-made fibers.
Mom, what is going on here?
Nothing, Mom. I was...
I'm in uniform. And when I'm in uniform, it's...
Madame la Presidente, sorry, Madame la Presidente.
Now, what is going on here?
Nothing, Madame la Presidente. I was just showing my friend Nico some of the cool stuff I've got.
Hi.
Good afternoon, señorita. And just what are your intentions toward my son?
Intentions? We were just talking.
Oh, nice. She has good bone structure, Raoul. Has she any brains?
She's a reporter.
Is she? And what sort of questions has she been asking?
I'm a freelance photojournalist. I do lifestyle features.
For what sort of magazines?
It looked safest to play dumb, with good bone structure. Haya, Lifestyle of the Super Rich and Vainglorious, Envy Magazine,
Excellent! Raoul, you've chosen well for a change.
It was pretty obvious who pulled the strings around here. I hope George was making good use of the time I was buying him.
And then it goes,
Pa 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 pa.
And when you were in this band of yours, you used to play that song for 2 hours?
yeah, we were really famous at our college. Still, ours wasn't as good as the original version.
I have never heard that song before, yet I have no doubt that this must be true.
Hey! Psst! Hey, George!
Dwayne Henderson. Boy, am I ever glad to see you. Get to the American consul and tell him I've been imprisoned without charge.
Get real, George. He was the previous occupant of that cell you're in. We're gonna have to use good old American know-how to get you out of there.
Uh-oh.
That, and this truck full of explosives I've got here.
Dwayne, listen to me. You'll kill all of us.
You're such a naysayer, George. It'll go like clockwork. Negative to negative, it's positive to you gotta get the bare copper wire here. Let me just, damn. Alright, I'll just hook that up. All right, there we go. Okay, just a minute. I've got to get to a safe distance.
Quick, Miguel, hit the mattress.
You have strange customs up north.
Here we go.
Too late.
Are we dead yet?
Horse shit.
What happened to the explosives?
There ain't no explosives. My dumbass supplier must have given me organic fertilizer instead of chemical. All I got here is 400 pounds of lightly fried horse apples.
That's a lovely image, Dwayne. Never mind, I'll think of something. I can't believe that punk jailed me for no reason at all.
So? It happens.
But I'm a U.S. citizen.
See? That's true. They dare not execute you.
Yeah? Well, that's something.
They'll have to arrange an accident for you instead.
Why is that noose hanging from the bars?
Ronaldo strung it up, for me to hang myself. Don't cry for me, Senor Stubbard. When I am dead, the goddess will take my soul to rest in paradise.
Listen to me, Miguel. You give me that rope, and I'll get us out of here. Is there somewhere you can hide from the General?
Of course. My friends have a boat ready to take me upriver. But how are you going to break out of here with just a short piece of rope?
I'm not sure, but I'll think of something.
If your plan doesn't work, will you let me hang myself in peace?
Have you heard of a guy called Karzak?
Yes. The old man spoke of him.
The foreigner? Professor Oubier?
That's right. This man Karzak is Oubier's boss.
Hey, Dwayne, I want you to tie this rope to your truck and then drive forward. I'd had no idea whether this was really going to work, but I'd seen it in a black and white western. Of course, Hopalong was using a horse and Dwayne had a 4-ton truck, but hey, the principle's sound.
Anything you say, George.
Please forgive my mother. She can be a little difficult.
Oh, my feet, Raoul! Propose, you idiot!
Don't mind her. She just wants grandchildren.
Don't think I can't hear you, Raoul. I want the worthy successor, and you're not it. Propose now or I'll do it for you.
Look, Nico, we haven't known each other very long, but... What the hell was that?
I didn't know what was going on, but Georges had to be involved in it somewhere.
I ain't gonna say a thing, 'cause that sweet sound of falling masonry says it all.
Quick, senor, the river.
Huh? Wait! What about Nico?
Georges, what have you done? You only had to sneak a look at the chart, and it's turned into World War III.
No time to explain. Come on.
Don't move, terrorist scum. You talking to me, Junior?
Yes, I'm talking to you, fat man. And my name's not Junior.
A word to the wise, Junior. You carry on waving that pea shooter in my face, and the next person who sees it is gonna be your proctologist. Savvy?
General, I am happy to report that I have apprehended the terrorists. You idiot, not them. The other American and the French woman. They're the ones.
When I recovered consciousness, I was alone, washed up on the riverbank. My head was aching fiercely, and my mouth tasted like a swamp. But I followed the sound and discovered a treehouse in a nearby clearing. That vine rope could be useful. It was a pile of damp leaves. I placed the bank statement over the damp leaves. As I held the fetish to the iron rim of the wheel, a shower of sparks cascaded onto the leaves.
Quick, man! Put out that fire! I've got a sick woman up here.
Sorry, Father, but I needed to attract your attention.
Who are you? And what do you want?
My name is Stobart, George Stobart.
I'm Father Hubert. I don't suppose you speak French.
Huh? Why do you want to know that?
I found a young woman with a fever by the river this morning. The poor girl is close to death, and there's nothing I can do for her but pray. I don't understand her, but I think she's speaking French.
Hang on. That must be Nico. That's my girlfriend you've got in your treehouse. What's the matter with her?
She's been bitten by a venomous river snake.
But can't you do something for her? There's a cure, isn't there?
I ran out of penicillin and morphine years ago, but the local people speak of a root which they believe will counteract the poison.
Where can I find this route?
I don't know. But maybe the shaman at the village can tell us.
Will you show me the way to the village?
Me? Oh, but I can't.
Can't? Nico's life depends on it.
You're right. Of course I should, despite my own guilt and shame. But I can't go as a representative of God with a creased collar.
A creased collar? You mean you put your personal attire higher than the life of a sick woman?
I will not go to that village looking anything but my best.
Give me your collar. I'm sure I can find a way to press it.
Thank you, my son. In the meantime, I must contemplate my sermon.
There was obviously more than a creased collar bothering the priest. The vine provided a drive belt to connect the two stones. So there I was, hundreds of miles from civilization, doing the housework for a priest. It's a strange world. It was heavy. I guess that was intentional. The press worked surprisingly well on the collar. Here's your collar, Father.
Thank you, George. You probably think it a little odd of me to make such a fuss.
Oh, no. If I'd been living in the jungle for 11 years, I'd be completely screwy, too.
Screwy? Yes, perhaps I am. Ever since my last visit to that village.
Now you've got your collar back, will you take me to the village?
I've still not finished my sermon.
Look, Father, I still don't know why you're so reluctant to visit that village, and it's none of my business. Whatever the reason, it can't be more important than saving Nico's life.
You're right. I must be crazy. We must make haste if we're to reach the village before nightfall.